This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Clock Shop Talk. Here with myself, John Antolin, George Lugo. Steward is off camera.
Yep.
What's up, George?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
It's good.
Been a couple weeks.
It's been a little bit.
A little bit. How's the knee?
Healing up. Feeling better.
For those of you guys that don't know, a little update. We've been kind of missing some episodes. We've been busy, but George also had some medical issues dealing with. And I'm not going to mention them because of HIPAA.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
But also, we got on camera today, returning guest, Steward out of College Center in Anaheim, Andrew Westman. What's up,
Thanks
brother?
for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Of course. Always a pleasure. Cheers, because we're off the clock.
We're off the clock.
Just wanted to get into a couple things, man. I guess update how you been. How are things going for you in Andrew Westman's world?
Andrew Westman's world's always a pleasure to be in.
Is that right?
Yeah. Everything's going good. I have a new shop steward team in my center that I've been working with. We're all really close, so it's been a breath of fresh air. For the last few years, it kind of felt like I was, the a little bit of the oddball, the younger guy,
Yeah.
and now my team's pretty young,
As far as the steward?
Yeah, so we're all pretty young now, and so I've been kind of helping them out, find their way.
Showing them the ropes a little bit. Okay.
Which is crazy.
And I mean, just for those who might not have seen your first couple episodes, you've been a steward how long?
About 6 years now, and I've been
6
with the
years?
company for 7 years.
Okay. And then driver steward for?
About 5 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy to even say that.
I
And
went
there's-
driving, and then 6 months later, I became a steward. So yeah, just trying to learn how to drive and be a steward at the same time.
Wow. Well, that's freaking cool. I mean, you're going to have definitely one hell of a story when you finally retire and get out to be a steward that long, a year in, and just rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
Union style.
I feel like I already have one, but after everything I've seen, I know that I haven't seen anything yet.
He's a union being, George.
A union being.
So I guess we wanted to talk a little bit. I know, you said you had a new steward team. You also
Yeah.
have a new management team, correct?
Right.
So I kind of wanted to get into that. We were talking a little bit off camera, but I mean, as a steward, you're going to be in kind of like the same position, same area, like within UPS, we're talking about the same center,
Right.
right? And unless you go feeder, really, you're going to be in that same center for the rest of your career,
Right.
Unless you go feeder, obviously. But that being said, I mean, you are going to deal with different manager groups, different on roads. They switch out, I'd say on average, probably every 3 years, right?
Right.
So, I mean, what would you say the different management styles and teams that you deal with, like, how would you say that affects you as being a steward and the way you might handle situations and whatnot?
I mean, yeah, like you said, every manager is going to be different. And I mean, it depends on the relationship you're going to have and, with that management team and how the personalities, because there's so many personalities at UPS, and a lot of times they collide or, sometimes they work out well. Like when I first became a steward, my manager was really cool, and, it could have been a lot worse had I got a manager like you had in Tustin. So, I had a little bit of an easier time in the management realm when I first became a steward, and rather than, the second and now third manager that I have. But I would say right now it's a little bit chaotic with the new whole management team kind of personalities going at it and stuff.
Got you.
But I feel like I'm pretty consistently me, and I forgot to say this, but first and foremost, this is our center. It's like you said, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah,
They're
after
not
they're
gonna be
gone.
there, and no matter who's there, I'm not hesitant to let them know that this is my center. This is our center,
Yeah.
And they're a guest in our center, and they know pretty quickly that that's how we feel.
That's cool. And I think everyone's different, and I appreciate the fact that you say you're fairly consistent. I consider myself a lot of the same, but I will say I've always been of the opinion that I let management set the tone. Like, I can be super nice, very, I guess work with you type of steward. Hey, we can work together, have a great relationship, or you want to be a dick. I think I can be straight up asshole. Like, I mean, that's just the truth. Like, I don't know. How do you feel like different management teams affect you, George?
Each one, I feel like every time new management comes into the center, they definitely try to bring their own new, their new thing to the table, right? They want to bring something that's going to change the way the center operates, because they think that it's better, and if, man, like 9 times out of 10, everything they do is backwards. It's why try and reinvent the wheel? We know that the center will operate as a whole, and it's been proven even without a manager in place, the center will operate the way it always does and efficiently. So when they come in and they try and change up,
Reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, they try and change everything up. It's what are you doing? You're throwing a wrench into something that already works. So it's just to do small things, small things. Get these little, because obviously what they really care about is numbers. They really only give a shit about numbers. So just do small tweaks to just get your numbers in the spots that they need to be. Don't change the center as a whole.
What do you think cardboard cutouts of us?
I do need to get a cardboard cutout of it. Put it there.
Well, it's nice to hear your opinions of us.
It's too much, dude.
Anyways, but yeah, I do think that, different management styles can kind of dictate how you have to react as a steward. Right. And I think a lot of it is reactive, because at the end of the day, you're policing the contract, and let's just say you had a perfect quote unquote management team and they didn't violate the contract. This is not much for you to do reactively, right? I mean, proactively, obviously, you want to keep track of the numbers, make sure everyone's, on the same page. You guys are having meetings. But at the end of the day, the more a manager feels like they can violate the contract, the more they want to fight those violations. That kind of dictates how you have to be as a steward, right?
Yeah. Right now, my center, it seems like the manager's MO is to accept the least amount of responsibility and discipline the most. So that's the game. That's the game we're playing right now. And he thinks he's a wordsmith. So
I think a lot of them
likes to play games, but we're on to it, and it's been a battle, but I like our odds. I think he steps on his dick a lot, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I said, I let them set the tone. All good. You want to play games? We can play games.
Yeah, I was hopeful in the beginning because he was pretty well mannered, but it just turned into the
switched up a little bit there.
Yeah, just being the well mannered ones are the snaky ones. I because I had a manager that was just just balls to walls crazy, and I was like, all right, I'm cool with this too, man. At least I know what I'm getting.
I think, it's funny you say that. I've dealt with a couple managers throughout my career that were just flat out assholes. I mean, just flat out. But they were consistently that.
Right.
I always knew what to expect. I always knew where we were going. You know what I mean?
It's comfortable, at least a little bit.
I could respect the consistency.
Yeah.
Now, the snaky ones, those ones, you got to watch out.
It makes you uneasy,
Yeah, for sure.
I enjoyed the last one because at least I would just partake in the craziness, But now this one's you you gotta watch the way you talk and all sorts of stuff. Sometimes.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I remember the days, and this was quite a while ago, where you can go in. To be honest, you go in the freaking office and motherfuck each other, and
Yeah, I mean,
and then come out of the office and be cool. See him the next day and go, hey,
Yeah, I experienced that too. I mean, I've been there even with this management team, but you just can't fully. I mean, you can never trust them, but with those other managers, it's easier to get away with it regularly.
Yeah.
Whereas like this one, feel
like
like
bipolar.
Yeah.
No true medical diagnosis. I'm just saying bipolar with the way they manage the management style.
Definitely with their management style.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've seen it. It's something else. So, how would you say that the management styles not only affect the stewards and the way you have to act in meetings and whatnot, but how do you think it affects the membership?
I think everything at UPS is kind of like the trickle effect. It comes down.
100% agree.
Comes down the
Shit
pipe.
rolls downhill.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've had conversations with my management teams letting them know, like, this membership is not happy with you. You know what I mean? And it is, I thought you were going to be the change, I thought that's what you wanted at least, was to be the change. And, that it seems like, that was already blown away. It's only been a few months, but just in general, the good relationship with your manager goes a long way. It goes a long way in the performance. It goes a long way in the morale. Everything. I feel like I said, just trickles down, and a good manager makes a huge difference. And I've gotten to see 3 styles of management. In only a few years, only 5 years, three managers I've seen.
And in your career, you're going to see a lot more than that.
For sure, yeah. But I've seen the really nice one, the wild one, and then the snake in the grass one, And I miss the nice one.
Yeah, you learn to miss those ones, and at the end of the day, it's still management,
Right.
but just the style, they're way more about relationship, to where you can work together, and
the morale was
even
way up.
to be honest, even filing grievances in those type of situations where you have a nice manager, guys have a good working relationship, whatever. Even filing grievances is different. You might go to the manager and say, hey, look, you violated. Sorry, I'm going to have to file this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. You still file those grievances and you still do what you have to do. And I think even, on the flip side, when they're talking about like discipline, they usually give a few more chances. But then if it comes down to it and they're like, hey, look, I'm going to have to discipline this guy. And you as a steward kind of respect that. You're like, all right, cool. I get that. We've given this guy a lot of chances. You yourself as a steward might have talked to him and just said, hey, they're watching you or whatever.
A few guys.
Right? You always have those guys. So I think those management styles, the morale in those centers where you have a good old school manager where even, like I said, you might get super angry at each other one day and go in the office and have at it. Then the next day you're like, hey, we still got to work together. We still got to do this. We still got to do that.
Yeah, I think there's been a huge shift in the management world where, from the old school now to the new school where those old school managers, like, they stuck it to the upper management a little bit more and said, like, this is how we're going to run the center, and stay out of it. Whereas the new ones, like the current management team I have, he's openly said, like, I'm looking out for my bonuses, my numbers. Like, I have people to answer to and whatever. It's like, I would have never heard that a few years ago. I feel like
I definitely 100% agree with you.
To say, like, I'm looking out for my bonuses. That's fucking gross, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we always knew that's what they were doing.
100%.
He's saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep that shit to yourself.
What's wrong with you?
It is pretty wild. I just, in dealing with those kind of managers, that new management style, I've seen some just off-the-wall stuff, dude. I had a preload, or I shouldn't say, he was a twilight manager who we were dealing with, and no names, no building. I'm not going to go there. But, I mean, this guy basically told us that, like, I I'm new, and they're just going to tell me how to run everything. They're going to give me the numbers I have to run. They're going to give me the amount of people. And I'm like, but you know this doesn't work, right? Well, yeah, I know it doesn't work, but that's what they're telling me to do.
He's going to pay the price for it, too.
Well, he did. He ended up leaving the company. Yeah. He couldn't take it. But to your point, management used to be able to say, hey, I'm going to do it this way. And at least if I fail, I did it the way that I thought was going to be the best, right?
Right.
And most of the time, I'm not going to lie, the managers that would do that would just tell the upper management, like, hey, I'm running it this way. They usually got it done. They got it done, and morale was a little bit better. And, just things when you get your plans and your, how you're supposed to run stuff dictated to you by somebody punching numbers into a computer who has no idea about your workforce, no idea about the job in general, just has no idea. It makes for a bad look.
Right. Yeah. The computer warrior thing is old. Telling me like, oh, it says this amount of numbers. Like, dude,
it says you'll run more efficiently if you change this. Oh, does it now?
And those things, for those of us who have been there for a while, you've seen these things come in and out of play. Orion being one of the biggest ones at UPS. For those of you guys out there in YouTube and Spotify world who don't understand what that was, Orion is basically an AI system that takes a map overlaid with your stops and then basically reroutes your route for the day. You might have a set way that your route runs every day, at least back in what we called the Ed days, right?
Yeah.
Where we got Ed, or even prior to Ed when they were on paper and, they basically got their stuff. A driver would know his route. I need to start up here on this side. I'm going to finish over here in this corner. And then, I have this business. Right. And it's all dictated by times, pickups, business, heavy times of the day. You have a school on your route. Maybe you need to work around that. You can't go there at 2:30, and you know what I mean? Like all these different things. So Orion was a big thing where corporate was just like, hey, we purchased this system. It's going to tell us how to route every day. And it just honestly just fell on its face.
It sounds amazing when you say it. It sounds amazing. I would have bought in. Man, it sucks so bad, man.
It does suck.
I know you became a business agent pretty quickly into like Orion. I don't know.
I had Orion for like a 3 or 4 years.
Okay. All right, then.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
But like now they do updates and stuff like that, and it just sucks. Like the whole board's jumbled. You're talking
about the itinerary updates,
right? Yeah.
So you'll be like running the route, and it's fine, but then it'll go like, oh, since you did this stop instead of that one, like you picked a stop that was closer to you, it'll update the whole thing, and then it'll jumble everything. And it'll be like, oh, now you got to go down here, do this street, and jump back here where you just were, and then finish that. It doesn't make any sense.
On the itinerary, it'd be like 6,000, 3,000, 4,000. It's just random.
Yeah, you're hopping around all over the place.
Yeah, all day long. Like, that it makes it impossible to do your selection process and all that stuff that they preach. It's like, how am I supposed to do that when the board's telling me to go grab from my 6,000 at 10 o'clock?
When all the shit's in the middle of the truck.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So it's just crazy. And,
yeah.
And they want you to do 95% or 90% Orion. It's like, dude, I do that, and you get mad when I'm 6 hours overload.
Yeah, and they get upset. I have a funny story about, and I think I've talked about it here a couple times, but I was being observed after a crazy grievance meeting, right? We have a crazy grievance meeting in the morning. Me and management really get into it. And then all of a sudden they send somebody out on an observation that same day, right? So I knew the route I was on. We're in a residential street, but it does have like a small island in the middle. So it's like you can't get around. So I would do one stop on one side of the street, go around the back of the truck, do the other stop across the street, because that's Orion was telling me to do both sides of the street, but there's an island in the middle.
Yeah. Are you walking them or driving them?
I'm walking them.
Oh, okay.
So I see him behind me. He starts following me, and then I was like, okay, cool. So Orion's telling me to hit both sides of the street. So I just kept making circles around the island. I would do one stop on this side, and then go around the island, do the stop on that side, and then go back around the island. And he was so pissed off.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I'm like, that's where it's telling me to deliver. That's what do you want me to do? It's unsafe. I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny.
That's
but
hilarious.
I mean, they've really stuck to that Orion thing. I mean, I know they paid for it, granted.
I think it would. I've heard it from like another source that I actually trust. Like he's no longer with UPS, but he was part of management before. And apparently, like Orion's supposed to be managed by a team. Every morning, they're supposed to like kind of like fine tweak it like Ed. And it's supposed to help you for your day. But the problem is they don't want to pay for the extra personnel to run and tweak Orion as
really?
the day goes out.
I didn't even know that.
And that's what
UPS.
that's what I was told. And he's like, the whole reason it's failing is they don't have a team to make it work. They're just hoping that, hey, it has updates, and they're like, oh, it'll update itself. But the problem is it doesn't know exactly where stops need to go, how a driver runs. You know, they also say that it learns how the driver drives, and how that's not going to help you if someone's covering your route every 2 days.
Exactly.
It's a different person.
I used to ask them, and this was, I guess, kind of early in the inception of it, but I used to ask them when I learned new routes, just give me like 2 days of Ed, before we turn on the Orion, so I can figure out the layout, get my streets down. At least that way, when you skip to a whole different part of the route that I haven't learned yet, and and it wasn't there earlier, that I can now just kind of run it regular.
Yeah, recently I did a split route in 2 different zip codes with Orion, and I just let it take the wheel.
That's awesome.
Orion take the wheel.
Yeah, Orion took the wheel, man. I was 6 hours in the hole.
Oh, that's great.
On 9-5, I'm out there till, probably 10:30, 11.
Oh,
yeah,
Damn, you're about to hit 14 hours.
yeah.
That's
They
awesome.
were not stoked on that one, but whatever. They're like, what happened? I'm like, I'm blind on a split route in Orion, and it, doing its thing.
It's
And
just doing its
It was
thing.
just like a not a cool area, whatever. And I was telling him, like, dude, it's fucking shitty over here, dude. And he's like, no, it's cool, it's college center. I'm like, I took a picture of a spent shell on the ground that day, dude.
There's shitty routes in College Center. They have some ones that really
Yeah, we took
really
all
suck.
of Savas's routes.
There's a couple.
There's a couple. There's a couple.
It's
that
not
really
like
suck.
Tustin Center.
No, not
shout out to Tustin Center.
Yeah, shout out to Tustin Center.
But I mean, shoot, we talked about management, Orion, and stuff. Why don't we talk about some fun stuff, dude? What have you been doing in your personal life?
Honestly, just being dad, man.
Yeah,
Being dad. Yeah, I got my kids all the time now.
my kids are here.
Yeah.
they're over, off camera.
Yeah,
but
I got two little ones around their age, and just being dad, spending time with my kids, just focusing on that mostly. Yeah,
that's awesome. What about the shooting?
shooting. I'm shooting all the time, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
For those of you guys who
Shooting all
don't
the
know, Andrew Westman is a very avid gun collector,
A gun enthusiast.
Do my part.
enthusiast. Oh, that's cool, dude. I see some of your stuff on
And, yeah, anyone who wants to go
Social
shooting,
media
I'm
stuff.
down to take them, show them what I learned over
training.
over
It's
the
offering
ti-
training lessons.
Yeah, free
Oh.
99.
Might
say-
take you up on that.
Yeah, I took John out.
For the fair price, yes. And to be fair, I owned guns before Andrew.
Yeah, no.
You made it sound like I took him out and I held his
I
hand
showed him the
and
ropes
took
and
him
everything.
shooting for the first time. And that is not
Pop
the
his
case,
cherry.
Andrew.
It's like baby's first day out shooting.
Yeah.
It's
right
like
there,
take
like-
your kid to work day.
He took the pacifier out of my mouth and then showed me how
This
to
is
hold
how
the gun.
adults shoot guns.
Pew, pew.
Yeah, it was a hobby that I picked up in 2020,
Yeah.
and and that was when I went driving, and so I finally had the money to fuel it, and I've been shooting probably about, I don't know, two times a month, anywhere up to, 6 times, 8 times. There was like a few weeks ago I went every day of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, so when I'm going that much, I'll go to a local spot around here. But if I'm going twice a month, I'm going out to like Hodge or you know, some other spots that I have, and going and shooting you know, ARs or whatever. But around here, there's not really a lot of cool spots to shoot ARs. So you just
not around here.
Take
I mean, you can go to
out.
Rahagi's, but
Yeah, even then.
I get it. Any other fun hobbies you're into?
I
or
bought
what?
a Harley.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bought a Harley. Yeah, super fun. I've always wanted one, and my ex-wife didn't let me have one, so I was, like, you know what,
Living the dream.
Yeah, I was. You know, she was a badass lady, so I was like, you know what, this is her one thing. Like, she treated me well, so I was like, I'm not gonna push the issue, you know, and it didn't work out. So the first thing I did was went and bought a Harley, and I love it. I was trying to figure out, like, is it everything that I thought it was going to be? You know, all the times I broke my neck, you know, looking at some dude wishing it was me, you know. It was everything, you know, if you're
That sounded
on the fence,
really weird.
go buy one.
He said, I broke my neck looking at a bunch of dudes.
I'm straight up. No, but it's so fun, man. If you're on the fence, just go get one, man. It's so fun.
Yeah?
Just go buy one.
It's
go buy
addicting.
one, dude.
It's addicting, dude.
I've thought about it, but I don't know.
Do it. I'm trying to convince Nick to get another one.
Yeah?
Every time I'm working on it, I'm telling him, like,
I don't know.
what's up, dude? Where's
Kill
your bike
myself
at?
on one of those things, dude.
If you get one, go to the CHP class. They teach you everything. You get your M1 license from them. All you do is, I think it's after you pass, you go and take your written test, and you have your license.
That's cool.
That's cool. I think the biggest issue for most people who live, especially in California, is not the fact that you're going to be unsafe. It's just people. People are the worst.
I've had a few close calls. Yeah, getting cut.
He's like,
Dude,
I just
people
got
are
my
the worst,
bike a couple
though.
months ago.
'Cause-
Had a few close calls already.
But I grew up riding dirt bikes, so I'm not like foreign, you know.
No, I
on
used
a
to ride
bike.
dirt bikes.
But yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same, man.
I
I mean,
assume.
I don't have a bagger or anything like that. I had a smaller bike, whatever. But yeah, it's easier transition. But yeah, you get cut off, and you know, it takes reps and takes time to learn how to handle that. Right, a few times where I'm fishtail going sideways because somebody just cut me off. You know,
Really?
yeah. But thankfully, I've been able to bring it back every time, and I'm like, thank you, God. You know, every time I go out, I pray.
You know, you're not making a good case for getting
Yeah,
a bike.
you're actually making a horrible case.
It's California. It
No,
is
but
what it
that's the
is.
thing.
I'm not
It's-
trying to sell you some shit and lie to you. It's dangerous, but it's a great time.
Yeah, it looks fun as hell. I'm not
It
gonna
looks
lie.
awesome.
It looks
I mean,
great.
like, you literally are like-
riding dirt bikes.
You're like one with the road. Isn't that the whole point? It's like
100%.
you and the road.
You like, you get some
Making
music
love
on.
to the road.
You're riding down the street, and you're just like, this is the coolest shit I've ever done.
Yeah.
Every single time. Yeah, it's so cool.
I don't know. Maybe we'll think about it, dude.
I definitely want to try it.
At least try it.
I want to at least try it. You know.
Oh, dude.
It's not. How do you try
It's like one
buying
of
a
those
Harley?
things like tattoos, man. You
Harley.
get one, and it's like, you know, try it one time.
But then, I mean, how-
that's a problem.
But
That's
how
a problem.
how shitty would you feel if you always wanted to ride a motorcycle and you never at least tried riding a motorcycle?
That's what I was saying, and he was trying to make it sound bad.
I mean, it's. I just don't understand. How do you try riding a Harley?
Well,
I
do
mean,
you not
Harley,
know?
at
You
the
know,
end of the day,
you know friends that have Harleys. One sitting on the couch right there. You guys can just take it out for a spin,
But
and he
that's
can
the
show you.
craziest thing. First of all, I'm not sitting nuts to butts. Second of all, I don't want to take out somebody's Harley and lay it down.
Why do you
know what
want
I
to
mean?
sit nuts to buzz?
Well, he made it sound like you guys could just go out and enjoy a day.
He didn't
riding
say
together.
Dude, he didn't say
So,
fucking Dumb
I'm
and
like-
Dumber that shit.
We're there.
No, I'm like, no. Just go, man.
If you know how to ride a dirt bike, you can ride a Harley. Dude, I bought it, and I told the guy, I've never ridden a motorcycle. I've only ridden dirt bikes. I showed him the cash in hand, took it. I was like 2 stop signs away from PCH. I fucking grabbed that bike, took it on PCH, and ripped it down the street. It took me 30 seconds, a minute tops, to kind of feel like, all right, like I'm not nervous anymore. Like, this is not foreign.
I'll think about it.
I mean,
George.
that's good.
There we
After
go.
the crutches,
Look at-
you should think about it.
I'm thinking about it now.
It didn't take much convincing. See,
Unfortunately, he can't with the crutches.
yeah.
Not just For now.
Well, maybe nuts to butts for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You could
My-
ride on the.
you could be
on
my
the
little
back
nuts
of-
to butts buddy.
You could ride on the back of Andrew's Harley.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first.
Who else have you
laugh.
taken out? Who else have you taken out?
I've taken some friends out. Yeah,
Yeah?
some lady friends.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I thought Carter was on your back. Hold on. Beard flowing in the wind.
Yeah, we're just waiting. I'm just waiting to get him on there. Yeah.
I'm going to need pictures for proof, all right? That's hilarious.
Don't tell me a good time, man.
Oh, man. Well, Andrew, it was great catching up with you. I think we're going to call it a day.
Yeah.
But you got any closing words?
Support your stewards, man. They're having done it for a long time, it's a thankless job, man. And I know a lot of people don't understand. Especially UPS, they don't get involved, man. But those stewards, they put their jobs on the line every day for you guys. And and when I was a member, like when I was a steward, I didn't even know what a steward was at that time, And Eric's changing it for everyone, and I've seen it, the huge change, and we're going to war, and get involved. Know your contract. This is everyone's future, and it's whether you're a business agent, you're a steward, you're a member, or you're looking to join a union. Get involved, and that's
Get
the
educated.
get educated. That's the security of your family.
Yeah, definitely
yeah,
get
bro.
educated. Definitely get educated.
Well, it's very nice catching up with you, dude. Take care of those little girls.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
safe on that Harley.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah. George?
I don't really have anything unless you want to do news. We could skip that today if you want.
Yeah.
No biggie.
I thought you had something to say to Savas.
To Sabas, other than fuck him.
You get a cardboard cutout, man.
Anything, Savas? No? All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for tuning in every week-ish right now. But
Sorry,
but we're
I'm
working
sorry
on
right
it.
now. That's kind of my fault.
We're working on it.
Well, we do have the 100th episode coming up, so please stay tuned for every episode we release. We'll have an update probably in the next episode of when we're going to launch the 100th
episode, guys. We're excited. We've been doing this for a little over a year.
It's about almost 2 years now.
We appreciate you guys. I mean, to be honest, sometimes this in itself, shooting the podcast and whatnot, gets daunting. It gets to be work. It's tough. It's our own time. We don't get paid. But that being said, we appreciate all the support. I had people just this last week when we were at Unity come up and hit me up and just say how much they like the show. When are we bringing out another one? We appreciate all the support. Myself, George, Cutout, Cardboard, Savas. We just appreciate you guys with the utmost appreciation. I guess that's the best way I could say it.
Definitely.
Just thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, OCST952.
Email us with all your questions, comments, concerns at ocst.000@gmail. Also, if you guys need representation, you guys want to get organized, hit us up. Leave something in the messages. Check the description down below for the Teamster Newsroom. They have all updates there all the time. I think they have backlogs of up to almost a year, so you can check that out and keep yourself informed and see what the Teamsters are bringing up.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you.